Hey guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge. I couldn't wait till Friday. I gotta finally do the review of this knife by Sanrenmu. This is their entrance into the fight with brands like Mora, Haltefors, and a number of other Scandinavian style knives, except for this thing's a full flat grind. It's got the same Sandvik 12C27 steel that the stainless versions of the Mora has. So it's a pretty close competition with the same basic styling cues all over the place. Maybe you're interested in this? Let's keep watching and find out. The first thing that you notice when you get it is, it's a lot like one of those Moras or Haltefors or other knives. You've got your, plastic sheath. This is PA66 plus GF. What's that? That's a polyamide plastic with 6.6% nylon, which is actually quite tough. That's the main component of cable ties, especially the expensive cable ties, the really good ones. But they've got the addition of also having glass fiber included. So it's glass fiber inserted in the PA66. It's actually a very durable material that they use. We've got a sheath system that clips onto a belt very well. It just slides over the belt, and with that little extra hook right there, it holds on to your belt. Doesn't come off. Quite nice. A little push-off ramp right there, so that when it comes time to take the knife out of the sheath, you put your hand in here, you clasp the end of the knife handle, and push off with your thumb and take it out. It's got a very, very good retention. You can just hear that click. It's a strong, hard click, and it doesn't come out extra easily. It takes a bit to get it out. And then you've got this hole back here, and this is a Scandinavian thing. People in North America don't really get this, but it's a thing. They've got a lot of people who use these kinds of knives for different trades, and they stack them on their belt. They've got one knife of one style blade, and then another knife with a different style blade, and it's hung off of here. So this button here can fit into that part of another sheath. So you've got another knife hanging down a little bit lower. The Moras do that. There is a shield shape instead of a button with a hole right there that goes on there. Haltefors does the same kind of thing, except for this one doesn't have the extra button. This is just the last one. That's because they also have, especially on the men's jeans, on their worker men's jeans, they've got this kind of button attached specifically for you to hang your knife, so you don't have to use a belt or anything. You've got a button on your pants to hang this knife. The cool thing about this one is this button works with the Haltefors and it works with the Mora. Either one you can use to clip on a second knife if this is your first knife, so that's quite good. But with this different shape here, the Sanrenmu does not clip onto the Mora sheath, and the Sanrenmu can click onto the Haltefors. The Haltefors has got an extra locking system on there, so it works fine with the Haltefors both ways. With the Mora, you can only clip the Mora onto the Sanrenmu, not the other way around. The other way around just doesn't work. So that's the main things with the sheath. Well, a couple other things. You've got a drain hole down here so that if it does get wet, the water will drain out. You've got a lanyard hole like you don't get very often on the other brands of knives. So that's another plus. And you've just got a very comfortable knife here. The guard, the bolster here, not the bolster, the guard on the front and at the end isn't quite as big as on the other knives. It's got more of a kind of semi-flat side and a sort of flattish top, unlike, the other knives that have a much more rounded handle. So for that, I've got to give the points to, the competition. They just have handles that are a little bit more comfortable than the Sanrenmu. But this is Sanrenmu's first attempt at this style of knife, so hopefully they'll get it a little bit better. One cool thing is they named it the Poised. It says Poised in plastic right there. That's kind of cool. But it is fairly comfortable in hand anyways, especially for men's medium and men's large hands will find this very, very comfortable. My hands are just getting close to being the extra large size, and so I'm still finding this comfortable, but if my hands were a bit bigger, I might find this just a little bit too small. Whereas these handles, as you can see, the Mora knife, you can see the black on either side. It's just a bigger handle this way, and it's a little bit thicker this way as well. So it's basically designed for bigger hands than the Sanrenmu. Designed in China, it's a decent attempt at it. The one really good thing, I don't have my magnet here. The magnet comes past, and I've got a picture of it where I've got the knife sitting this way with the magnet on the side just hanging on. The magnet comes to about there, so that means the steel insert, the blade handle, the tang comes way back to here. On the Mora knife, it comes close to the same distance. The Haltefors, it was only about halfway through with the tang of the blade. So it's made well. You've got lots of blade tang inside here compared to a lot of other knives. You've got a blade steel that is ever so slightly thicker than some of the Moras. And you got a full flat grind. Nice belly, nice sharpener's choil, nice plunge there. It's a beautifully made knife at 12C27. The Rockwell is, around 59-ish, plus or minus maybe. Beautiful satin grind lines on here. It's just well made. One other thing that this has that the competition does not have is these are just quickly stamped out. And so you've got the rough stamping edge here. This thing can throw sparks, no problem. It's got a nice 90-degree corner, so it's got that over the competition as well. And it's just a decently made knife. Let's go over the specs on this, all the sizes and everything, and we'll do that now. We've got a drop point blade of the Sandvik 12C27, and I mentioned that already. So the cutting edge and the blade length are about the same. So when I do the cutting edge, I measure from the tip to the end here in a straight line, and that straight line is the same distance from the tip to the handle here. 9.44 centimeters, 3.7 inches, so that's quite large. Very nice. The blade thickness is 2.54 millimeters, which is 1/10 of an inch. The blade depth this way is 2.44 centimeters. That's 0.97 of an inch, so basically an inch. Whereas, the competition is a fair bit less. The thickness of the edge is very close to perfect, exactly what we're looking for in a knife like this. 0.51 millimeters, that's 0.02 of an inch thick right at the edge, just behind that final grind. The grind angle on this knife, they did a very consistent grind on the show side here with the model number, 16.8 degrees grind angle, and on this side, 17.5 degrees. So, about 0.7 of a degree difference from one side to another. That's done very, very well indeed. The handle length of this knife is 12.2 centimeters. That's 4.8 inches. The handle thickness is 1.37 centimeters. That's 0.54 of an inch. The handle depth is, not counting, the guard on the end and the tail bolster there, right there. Handle depth, 2.47 centimeters. That's 0.972. So again, almost an inch. And the grip area in here is 8.91 centimeters, 3.5 inches. The total length of this knife is 21.6 centimeters, and the inches is on the screen right here. So if we line these up, yeah, the Sanrenmu is a longer knife, by not quite half an inch, but definitely a longer knife. Deeper blade. The blade thickness is ever so slightly thicker on the Sanrenmu. Not much, but it's ever so slightly thicker. And, so it is, I think, except for how comfortable the handle is, this is a better knife in every way except for the comfort of the handle. And, this is a better knife in the comfort of the handle. I don't have a stainless steel version out right here, but Mora knife or Mora kniv uses the same 12C27 on their stainless steel versions. So although this is a carbon one, the stainless steel ones are the same sizes and everything. So for comparison purposes, I just had this one in here. So that's very, very nice. So what about the price? Well, this is where the price is not the greatest. There is almost a 2 times premium price on this. So you can get this for about $22 US. You know, your Mora knife with the Scandi grind and the same Sandvik steel is about half that, at least in North America. So you're paying twice as much for this. But if you really like the full flat grind, if you go to Mora, you can get a full flat grind in the Flex. But it is, you know, a smaller blade this way, and it's a shorter blade, and it's only a few percent less, like 5 to 10% less money than this. Unless you want to spend even more money and get the higher end Moras. But for a budget knife, you know, this isn't bad. What, $22 US and 20 cents? There's 2 companies on AliExpress that have this, 2 stores on AliExpress. The one that's the cheapest only has it in black. The company that has it in both colors, it's about 26 cents more. Fixed blade knives ship into Canada, no problem at all from outside of Canada. So if you want to order one of these and you live in Canada, don't be concerned at all. It will get here. You know, barring postal issues or something, but CBSA will not be stopping a knife like this. So let's go over the pros and cons on this thing. The pros, I really like full flat grind on a lot of knives. Scandi grind is nice for a lot of things, but more so for bushcraft type kind of tasks. There's a lot of cases where, you know, I prefer a full flat grind. And so you've got that. You've got a 90-degree spine on here. I like that. You've got a strong tip, quite nice. That grip is quite comfortable. You know, you've got this sort of jimping stuff back here on the handle. You know, a nice guard. It comes more narrow here. It's actually quite comfortable in hand and doesn't really get hot in the hand when you use it for a while. You know, the sheaths, you know, they can stack onto each other. So I like that. And you can, you know, again, like in North America, we don't stack them very often, but you can do that if you wanted to. You know, the blade is bigger than the standard competition, so that's good. It's the same weight. Well, it's a couple of grams less than the Mora. So at least the Mora that I have here. So it's very much the same weight. I didn't give you the weight, did I? 80 grams. 2.75 ounces. Add in the sheath, and it is now 109 grams, 3.8 ounces. So 3.8 ounces is all your weighing, or your whole weight cost for a knife like this. So this is actually a really good knife for somebody who's doing some, you know, maybe longer term hiking, and you just want, you know, a decent basic knife that doesn't weigh a lot, but you want a fixed blade. Not a bad choice. The sheath retention is strong. Actually, the retention is stronger than, I have a couple of these basic Moras. This is a 511. What is it? The 5546, which is the basic stainless steel one. But, you know, the retention's not as good at all as this one is. This one, you have to make more of an effort to get it out. You know, it comes flying out when you do it. This just sort of comes out. I would like this ramp to be just up a little bit right at the edge instead of, you know, this almost 1/4 of an inch down from where it is. So that would be a good thing if they moved that up just a little bit, but that's a really tiny thing. Lanyard hole, a lot of people like lanyards. The competition doesn't have that. That's a really good thing. And really good. Things I would change, this push-off ramp, I'd push it up that way a little bit. I'd make the handle just a little bit thicker, maybe a little bit more rounded. And if they do make another version of this, make the guards here just a little bit larger as well. You know, there you be a couple changes that it's not bad the way it is, but you know, you always want to make things better the second time. And the cost being twice as much as the Scandi knife competition. You know, a Mora with the Scandi grind being half the price. That's a tough go. Sorry I didn't take that away sooner. I meant to take it away at the end of the measuring. The Mora knife being the main competition for this, this is half the price of this. So that's a tough go of it. It doesn't only come in this color. If you're not familiar with Mora knives, it comes in so many different colors, and you basically got black or green for this one. But it's a very different blade style. So if you want this blade style, then the competition comes down to very close to the same price. So that gives this a place in the market, I think. So if you're considering looking for something like this, the only place I found it for a decent price is on AliExpress. I will not get any credit for, I don't get a referral credit. I don't get a commission if you use my links down below. But if you do buy this from one of my links down below at AliExpress, send them a little note saying Jake from Canadian Cutting Edge on YouTube told you about this place. And they might be able to, they might in the future give me a good deal on some knives and stuff so that I can keep providing you with good videos. Thanks so much for watching my video. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.